Hey Archery Talk, this is Lucas, and today it's time for the first of the 8 long-term hunting bow reviews, and up right now is the Mathews Lift 29.5. For those who don't know, this bow has an axle length of about 29.5 inches and a brace height of about 6 inches, and there's a bunch of new technology and features that Mathews has added to this lift this year. I guess first and foremost, we'd want to talk about the new Switch Weight X Cam. It's a little more aggressive, as you can kind of see, just compared to the Phase 4 we shot a year ago. A little bit more aggressive, and that results in a little bit more speed. Mathews is advertising a 348 foot per second speed on this bow. We did our own testing. We'll talk about that in a little while. Also new is a much more skeletonized riser than we've seen in the past from Mathews, and that has resulted in a fairly major weight reduction. This bow is coming in now just a hair under 4 pounds advertised weight, and that's basically a full ½ pound lighter than the Phase 4 29 we shot a year ago. Now, Mathews bows have not historically been known for being lightweight, so if you are a backcountry hunter or somebody who really has to kind of walk long ways for hours on end, miles on end to do your hunting, you will appreciate the fact that this is a ½ pound lighter than the Phase 4 29. It's, again, the riser looks sleek. It's a great looking riser with all that skeletonized design on there, and it's nice to see that Mathews has carried over the fact that the bow is still quiet to shoot and dead in the hand after the shot, which you sometimes don't see out of bows that are kind of boasting a lightweight feel. Let's talk carryover features, and the Lift definitely has them, namely in the bridge lock sight design, which is a sight that allows you to kind of mount inside the riser. A very cool feature from Mathews. It's also just, you can move the sight and take the sight out with just one single set screw. Like that feature quite a bit. There's also the bridge lock stabilizer design. Very similar idea. The stabilizer can go into the riser, and what I really like about this is how it allows you to change your stabilizer length on your hunting bow. So you could buy one stabilizer, add your weight to it to get the feel that you want, and then you can change the length as you see fit by just moving it in and out of the riser like that. It's a great feature, and one I appreciate quite a bit that Mathews is running. We've also got the dampeners built inside the limbs. So consider this like an 8-piece limb instead of 4 pieces. So there's each of these halves of a limb is 2 pieces there, and there's dampeners built in, which just further makes the bow quieter and more vibration free than we've seen before. One feature on this bow that is available on this bow that I don't actually have myself is shot sense. Shot sense would fit kind of inside where the grip handle is over there, and you can pick that up as an addition if you'd like it. And what that will allow you to do is kind of track your shot process and how much movement you've got in your shot going forward. So you would download an app and shoot the bow, and then you can kind of see how much movement you've got in the bow from the time you get to full draw till the shot goes. You can see how much if you've got more up and down or left to right, and then you could make minor tweaks to the bow to address that, or minor tweaks to your form to address that. So it's a cool option. I do not have it myself. If I was only going to have one hunting bow and this was going to be the bow, then yeah, I think shot sense would be a worthy investment to make. So something for you guys to consider if you're interested in it. Let's talk actually shooting this bow. I am a longtime fan of how Mathews bows feel, really dating back to the Vertix and maybe the Triax before that. Basically anything we've seen since the cross-centric cam days. I find Mathews bows always to be a very linear pull. Not necessarily the easiest, but to me very linear, which means like it's I'm not feeling a great hump. It's kind of a consistent pull from the beginning of the draw right into the valley and against the wall. And this bow maybe has just the slightest bit of hump in the valley, not a huge amount, but the cam is a little more aggressive looking, and you're going to feel some of that, but I would call it just a small notch different than what I've got off the Phase 4 and the prior Mathews bows. I wouldn't call it the easiest bow to draw this year, but it's nothing hyper aggressive. It feels as nice as you want it to feel, as far as I'm concerned. At least that's my preference. Your mileage is going to vary a little bit, but I do like how the bow draws. Stability wise, again, for the fact that this is a bow that's under 30 inches, it's relatively stable. I shoot the bow just fine at 20, 30, and 40 yards. It's as accurate as I am. I would probably be a little bit more comfortable with their longer bow. They have a 33-inch version of this bow every year. Mathews usually has a shorter and a longer bow. The longer one, as someone who's a taller person, would really be my normal preference. But again, if you are a ground blind hunter or somebody who wants to keep compact when you're hunting, a 29.5-inch bow really does make a lot of sense. And it is plenty stable for my purposes. If I was shooting this as a 3D bow, I think maybe a longer bow would be better for me. But for straight hunting, there's really no complaints with this. I don't find myself dipping too much into the string and breaking my form to shoot properly. So overall, I'm not too bothered by the shorter axle to axle length. Let's talk noise and vibration, which I hinted about earlier in the video. And the Lift 29, as you may expect, is as quiet and vibration free as any bow I'm ever going to test this year. There's a couple that are right kind of neck and neck with the Mathews, but I would not say anyone is ahead of the Mathews in that department. Again, you consider that, in limb dampening system, they're the kind of innovators of this almost a little bottom nose dampener, a little tiny kind of short stubby dampener at the front, which adds stability and helps quiet things down. It's just a whole package that Mathews has really got nailed down for a lot of years right now, and everyone else is really just trying to play catch up. The bow is wildly quiet. I don't know how they do it, but I love that they do it. Let's talk speed, and I set this bow up with 70 pounds of draw weight and a draw length of around 29 3/4 inches using their B mod, which is the 29.5 inch mod. And with a 350 grain arrow, I saw an average speed of 330 feet per second. With a heavier 455 grain arrow, I saw speeds of 293 feet per second. For me, that second number is what's important. 293 feet per second out of an arrow that is a weight that I really like to use for hunting, that kind of 450 to 475 grain. This really fits the bill perfectly for me. But again, if you were someone who really craves the speed, you can get 330 out of a lighter 350 grain arrow. That's entirely up to you, but for me, again, I'm a fan of like a slightly heavier arrow, and I still like to get into that 280 to 290 range for feet per second. So realistically, I might knock this bow down 3 or 4 pounds in draw weight just to get to the speed I like to have for broadheads. I do find fixed blade broadheads for me fly, best in that, again, 280, 285 range, but your mileage is going to vary. Let's talk fit and finish, and this is an area where the Lift 29.5 absolutely shines. This textured earth riser and limbs looks fantastic in my mind. Again, I'm a fan of kind of earth tone risers and limbs on bows. And I do find that like the riser can kind of show maybe little tiny scratches off the bat, but they're nothing that stays permanent. You almost can kind of rub them out with your thumb a little bit and they kind of clear right up again. So these are obviously not deep embedded scratches. If you do that, you're going to be in trouble with any bow, but realistically, I've been stunned. I've had this bow now for, 8 months, and it still looks pretty much brand new to me. So fit and finish has been a plus for Mathews. The strings have not been twisting. The strings still look really solid to me. Again, after all this time, I'm not seeing a lot of fuzz. It's everything I would look for as far as fit and finish goes out of a flagship level hunting bow. As for price, the Lift 29.5 retails for about $1,230, which again is towards like the high end as far as flagship aluminum hunting bows go, but certainly not outlandish compared to the other major manufacturers and their offerings in this subject. Again, flagship bows aren't $900 anymore. It's just a fact of life that we're going to have to get used to. The Mathews bow is kind of priced in line with the other flagship level aluminum bows. If you do want to upgrade to that 33-inch lift, you're looking at about a $100 increase. Keep in mind, these are just MSRPs. The price at your dealer is definitely going to vary, and it could be a little more, it could be a little less. It all depends on their availability in stock and your bargaining power. The bottom line is, if you were looking for a lightweight, compact, quiet, and vibration-free hunting bow, the Mathews Lift 29.5 is definitely one you should test out for yourself. Head to your local Mathews dealer and take one for a spin.